The most shocking images perhaps that we have seen today and that we have accessed are these images. Let's bring them up in the screen. These are the lawyers. This man has been identified. He was the one leading the pack. This is Vikram Chauhan, who, by the way, has shown off his proximity to a slew of BJP leaders. We've all seen those photographs. He has been felicitated in Delhi's Karkaduma court today by lawyers, as we've just seen, who've been cheering him on, who've told him, "Wah mere sher, Vikram ki jai ho." These are the messages NDTV has accessed on social media forums and WhatsApp groups that these lawyers all belong to. In fact, one of the lawyers, as we just showed you, saying what the government and the military could not do, we have achieved. And now remember, here you see Vikram Chauhan garlanded. In another picture, you see giving a whole new meaning to candle vigils, lawyers carrying candles for each other. These are the lawyers who unleashed the attacks on the journalist and the accused, the JNU student president, Kanhaiya. And yet the police commissioner has not moved to arrest these men. They have not responded to his summons, and he continues to have an FIR against unknown people, when we have actually named today at least 5 different lawyers in that earlier package we just played. So what's the message we're sending out? Gundaism as nationalism? Is nationalism as a construct just being perverted today by politics? And what's at stake in this debate nationally? Let's get started with you, Sambit Patra. You are one of those who has been photographed with that man in those photographs, Vikram Chauhan.
Yes.
And are you going to pull out that photograph? You don't need to. We've all seen the photograph of you photographed with that goon. Why and how can you justify that this man and his cohorts have not been arrested? And I ask you this because a very eminent lawyer, Rajiv Dhawan, who was part of the Supreme Court appointed team who went to Patiala House, where they were called Pakistan ke Dalle and so on, he said to me in an interview that the police commissioner is not just incompetent, he's in collusion with the hooligans, because nothing else can explain the state of affairs. And he says even the Supreme Court team was given no security.
As far as photographs are concerned, Barkha, here's a photograph of the said lawyer with one of the eminent media anchors, I think your friend Rahul Kanwal. Does that anyway mean that he is a person belonging to the media? Similarly, he might have been photographed with politicians. That does not mean
with
that
Rajnath Singh, with LK Advani, with Sambit Patra, with Kailash Vijayvargiya. And the opposition says he's a member of the BJP legal cell.
You have asked a question.
Yes.
You have asked a question.
Yes.
Be tolerant for my answer. Photographed with Rahul Kanwal, photographed with Sarat Yadav, photographed with a slew of other politicians does not
Well,
mean...
Rahul said it was a random selfie and he didn't even know who he was, to be fair to Rahul.
He did not come to my house with appointment. It was a random selfie on a street.
Okay, let's move beyond the photograph. Move beyond the photograph. The fact that these men who are being garlanded in court premises have not been arrested. The fact that the BJP MLA was questioned for 8 hours, by the way, today, OP Sharma, but the lawyers have not even shown up. The fact that tomorrow they're actually holding a solidarity rally, these goons. These goons are holding a solidarity rally. And the police commissioner's FIR, police comes directly under the Home Ministry, continues to be against unknown people.
You're done?
Quick response.
It cannot be quick. Barkha, if the question is a paragraph, at least the answer would be 2 paragraphs. Go on. Number 1. As far as the photograph is concerned, I've cleared the air. He may belong to the media fraternity also. He may be close to a few of your anchors as well.
He's a lawyer,
because
so he can't belong to the media
fraternity. Why not? Are lawyers and anchors not friends?
Lawyers and anchors
can be very good friends. Secondly, as far as the whole issue is concerned, Barkha, there are 2 topics in this. The topic of anti-nationalism that cropped up in JNU, the kind of sloganeering that we heard in JNU, Bharat ke 100 takde honge, inshallah, inshallah, Pakistan zindabad, and Azadi for Kashmir. That's one issue. And the second issue is what we are discussing right now through these pictures. As far as Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, we have condemned whatever took place in the Patiala court campus.
Yet you continue to say it's a smaller issue than the JNU issue.
Who said?
Why are you giving... All of your ministers have said it. You're giving it a hierarchy.
Show me a single pull-out. Show me a single press conference.
You said it to me.
Show me
Ravi Shankar Prasad said it to me.
Show me where...
I will send you the clips.
No, you can show it on your show right now where they said that this is okay.
No one said it's okay. They just said JNU is a grave
I'll tell you what they said and what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm saying and they said that both these are 2 different constructs. One is a construct of anti-nationalism. One is lawlessness. Well, yes, lawlessness also has to be dealt with a firm hand. Anti-nationalism also has to be
addressed. Let me get Ashwini Kumar.
Don't compare both these issues.
Ashwini Kumar, is the Congress also rather confused? I find all parties very confused. There are only a few eminent and brave people, lawyers mostly, Fali Nariman, Soli Sorabji, who's sitting here, Dushyant Dave, who've actually pushed the envelope on this debate and said, even if the slogans were said by somebody, sedition has to be accompanied by incitement to violence. We're not sure this is a fit case for sedition. The Congress is doing a bit of both. Those who were anti-national, please punish them, but that's what the BJP is saying too. Then what are you protesting against?
It's not a question of taking sides compulsively.
Then?
We are saying that Congress totally and irrevocably dissociates itself with any national, anti-national activity or sloganeering. That is one part of it. We have also said, and said it as forcefully as we can, that in the facts of the case, without any independent inquiry establishing what actually happened, there's so many different versions, this is not a case where the coercive apparatuses of the state should be used against young students and children in a manner that stifles the very idea of India. The construct on nationalism has to be pitted against constitutionalism.
So do you believe,
you don't have an idea of nationalism?
Do you believe the wrong person has been arrested, or do you believe no one should have been arrested? You see, there are people who believe the slogans were abhorrent, but the university should have been left to deal with it.
I am saying that the university ordinarily should be left to deal with activities that should not take place on the university campus. That's one part of it. But please permit me to say that what I find extremely dangerous is the plea that an idea of nationalism is being propounded that conflicts with our deep-rooted commitment to constitutionalism,
okay, so just hold on for half a second. Sorry, Sorabji, you have been an Attorney General actually when Mr. Vajpayee was Prime Minister, yet you have filed a petition on behalf of the JNU student president along with Raju Ramachandran, arguing A, that it is not safe for him for this case to be heard at Patiala House anymore. His safety is now in doubt. And B, that he must get bail because he's not a hardened criminal. Soli, what made you take on this case at a time when anyone who is empathizing with Kanhaiya is being called anti-national?
You see, Barka, it's not a question of physical assault on Kanhaiya. I think this is a very dangerous trend. You cannot attack even people, the lawyers who want to appear for him. I do not believe that freedom of speech means you can say anything. You can really incite people to violence or cast doubt on the sovereignty and integrity of India. But that has to be established in a court of law. Some people, some politicians can prejudge the issue and start beating the man and even prevent the lawyers from appearing for him. That's the assault on the administration of justice. That's what worries me, and that's why I don't normally appear in court, but it's made me do that.
But your petition says you believe Kanhaiya is innocent.
No, I'm not concerned. Innocent or not has to be established by a court of law. It has to be established, and let him have a fair trial without being assaulted and without his lawyers being punished and
do you believe he has been seditious from the video evidence available? One of the disturbing things has been some media channels actually manipulated his comments on Azadi. If you hear the whole speech, you may not agree with it, but he's saying Azadi from hunger, Azadi from capitalism, Azadi from the caste system and so on. So it's not clear that, you see, the slogans of India's ruin, we've heard other people raise. Kanhaiya was present. I have so far, maybe I'll be proven wrong, I have so far not seen a tape where he's actually making these utterances.
But Barka,
did he stop them? Did he try to stop them? He's president of the Students' Union. And they're saying, Bharat ki barbadi tak, Bharat ke tukde honge, inshallah, inshallah. Did he get up once and say, shut up? Did he?
Does that make him seditious? Because your own tweets say the sedition charge is stupid.
I
have it
totally
here.
agree.
The Home Minister's sedition stupidity.
You shouldn't charge students with sedition. It's a stupid idea, right? But the fact of the matter is that when I saw those videos, got very angry. I don't want our students to be chanting Pakistani slogans. You know, you've covered Pakistan. Two of those slogans are taken directly from Benazir Bhutto's thing. भुट्टो हम शर्मिंदा हैं तेरे कातिल जिंदा हैं हर घर में भुट्टो निकलेगा तुम कितने भुट्टो मारोगे. This is Afzal Guru, okay? And no matter how bleeding hearted liberal we want to be, the fact is that he was part of a plot to destroy Parliament. Why aren't we talking about real things?
But do you believe that everybody... No, hang on. Is it not a real thing that lawyers are being garlanded and felicitated, and beating up journalists, and beating up the accused?
For a start, the guys doing the garlanding are goons. And the guys...
But they're free.
One minute, Barkha. what has really worried me in the media is you're confusing hooliganism with nationalism, right? And that's wrong. These are not nationalists, they're hooligans.
Right.
They should be debarred from...
We agree. But there's no action against them.
There should be. But that's not nationalism.
But do you believe that Kanhaiya should be arrested, Tavleen?
No,
because he did not stop these slogans. That's the point.
Yes,
Has the government handling of these slogans been excessive?
But the fact that slogans that relate to Pakistan are being, not in just one university, in 2 universities we've heard them on campuses, that is something we should pay attention to.
I want Soli to respond, because Soli, you've made the argument that the slogans are disturbing but not necessarily seditious. And you know, Britain, that gave us this law in the 1860s, has repealed this law in 2009 or 2010. How do you see this? Do you think that this man, who has been beaten in court, defying all principles of presumed innocent until proven guilty, should be treated as seditious?
Barka, whether it's seditious or not, depends on what she actually said. In what context, under what circumstances. It's very clear that anything critical of government, any comment, pungent comment, very ill-informed comment, criticism of government is not sedition. That's how Supreme Court case in Kerala.
It's India.
No, that's a state.
No, it's a country.
Naturally. That's what no sedition is about.
The state relates to government. This is the whole country that they were attacking.
Very well, but anything which is critical of the state, if you want to have it, the state is not sedition. Unless it is accompanied, there's a tendency or intention to incite violence. So you may say Afzal Guru was wrongly convicted. I don't believe that. I think you're a fair trial. But people will say that. If people say that Supreme Court judgment was wrong, does it become sedition?
Okay, when you say Bharat ki barbadi tak jang rahegi, jang rahegi, jang is
but the law is clear. But the law is clear. The law is clear. Unless there's an incitement to violence.
Barkha, can I come in for a while?
I want you to
jang rahegi, jang rahegi.
May I just submit
because
one
since
second?
the government has been put into question, I'll just read out 3 or 4 lines from a pamphlet which was distributed both in Jadavpur and a pamphlet which I have over here, which was doing rounds in JNU. Well within the knowledge of the JNU president, because posters and pamphlets were distributed with the knowledge of the president. Now let me read out one of the paragraphs which was today put by the ANI also. This is very essential. Point 2 of the paragraph says, it is high time that this movement, the movement that they're having, constitutes itself as an anti-state, at least in its present form, an anti-national movement, not reactively but positively. That it starts opening itself up to a future which is beyond state and beyond nation. To the charge of anti-nationalism, one must ask back the question, what is a nation? To this question, one must also answer, since the accuser does not have one.
When you were young, you never questioned what is a nation.
Just a second.
When you were young, you never questioned what is a nation. What is a nation state? What does nationalism mean? There can be no debate on these things.
I ask you a question. Is there a nation? Do you belong to a nation or you don't
belong to a nation, but I'm not going to arrest someone who says I'm a global. I'm not going to arrest someone.
You should hear this out.
The debate is the arrest.
You should hear this out. I'll come to the arrest as well, but you should hear this out. The country should know as to what was written in the pamphlet, which was distributed for 10 days. Having said, it must be stated that the lack of objectivity of the category of nationhood does not in any way discredit worldwide national liberation movement of the last 2 centuries, nor those which are currently going on. One must uphold the right to self-determination of all nations, nationalities, ethnicities and communities, including that of the people of Kashmir and various nationalities of Northeast India. Now tell me,
by the way, your government is in dialogue in a peace process with Naga secessionists. So I find it really ironic that
does
you
that
can
by
have a
any
dialogue
mean
with
that the government
dialogue
and saying that Northeast is a different nationality altogether is a different issue, madam.
Okay, Sambit. Now let's calm down. Yogendra, I want you to reshare for those who may have missed Tagore on nationalism. Because one of the things that bothers me, I'm a proud Indian. And by the way, unlike the left, I cut my teeth as a reporter covering the Kargil war. I have deep respect for the military. I have deep respect for India. I'm a proud Indian. I get goosebumps when I hear the national anthem. But I believe that young people, I'm not sure the handling of these slogans, as disturbing as they were, has been proportionate to what has happened. I think that for me is the debate. Yogendra.
Barkha, before we get completely distracted, and Samit has been very successful in doing so, just for a moment get back to those lawyers.
Yes.
I wish I could say they are just goons. I wish I could say police has been lax, police has been... I think there's something far deeper and chilling here. Basically, it's the state telling you, as and when necessary, we would use law. As and when convenient, we'll wink and we'll use things other than law. This is when dangerous things happen in the world. This is how the Third Reich began in Germany. This is what Indira Gandhi did during emergency. This is what happens in riot situations. So something very chilling happened in this country, right in the heart of the national capital. Let's not forget it, one. Second, I absolutely agree with what you said. I still am one of those who would stop anywhere when there's national anthem. And yes, मेरे भी रोंगटे खड़े होते हैं. आज भी सारे जहां का से अच्छा सुन के मुझे महसूस होता. I feel proud of being an Indian. But remember, this pride in being an Indian is not your school football team pride. When you are in a school football team and if someone asks you, why are you backing your team? You say, well, it's from my school. That's all. I don't need to give an argument. Nationalism is not something as low, as pedantic and as vacuous as that. And this country's nationalism has shown that. You have to ask yourself, what is it that you take pride in? I take pride in my country because this country taught democracy. It democratized the idea of democracy. I take pride in this country because it taught diversity to the rest of the world. And because it said development comes to the last person. But in order to take this pride, you have to open this country for debate.
But do you take
and in order to take
this sloganeering that we heard?
Sir, I did not interrupt you.
No,
I did not interrupt you. Can you please?
It's one verse.
Can you please allow me to
It's one
speak?
verse. No, sir, we have heard you. But my question is,
I
I understand we all take pride in democracy.
Last time
when there
also
were
this
diversity.
happened.
I know.
But
I mean,
my
these
question
people
is,
are-
my question is,
I mean, they do not
do we
only
take
think
pride
that
in
they
We
are
object to this.
Pakistan,
We object
Zindabad?
to this.
Excuse me.
One person
Let-
can't
let-
interfere
okay,
and
let's
intervene and take
Sambit,
everybody
come
else's
on.
time.
Sambit, Kiran hasn't had a
Really
chance.
talk
You'll
too
get
much.
your
But you
chance.
remember last time, there was an
Yes,
RSS person, ABVP person, BJP person. All
Let-
of three of them believed that they
By the way,
ruled.
you're doing your party a disservice by going on like that.
No, I would not say that.
Okay, come on.
that they-
Yogendra.
Yogendra
Now you've made your
believes
point.
as well.
Sambit, please
Just
now.
a second.
Sambit,
Yogendra
I will
began
give
by
you a
saying
chance.
I am diverting the topic. Did I
Sambit,
object
this is
to
you're
it?
being a.
I would say the same thing.
Sambit.
Yes, please continue.
Okay, Kiran Bedi, speaking from the perspective of knowing what it's like to take on lawyers, because there are many people here who are not old enough to remember this, but you actually took on lawyers in Delhi and then it became a major controversy, and it seems that the police is terrified. I mean, you're calling them lawyers, but the police seems to be terrified of taking on these goons because they remember what happened when you tried to do this. How do you see what's played out this week in India, in the national capital?
Remember, as a police officer, every law and order situation is standalone by itself. And it's a very important call of a decision. It's a call of duty, how to deal with it. Do I deal with it now? Or do I let evidence happen and wait for it? It's a call of conscience. It's a call of maturity. It's a call of wisdom. And remember, every arrest calls for force to be used. Force. No arrest is just simple.
Peaceful.
I can't, there's no peaceful arrest. Now, if the police commissioner had ordered an arrest of some lawyers yesterday or day before, force would have been used. And force would have been used, lathi charge would have happened. Because you think lawyers would have allowed saying, le jao isko. Uske baad force would have been used, there would have been a confrontation, lathi charge would have been used, and then demand would have been judicial inquiry, suspension of a police commissioner, and suspension of all those who arrested. Understand that. Therefore, it's a decision, a mature decision, or right or wrong, because every arrest has a right or wrong. It's a way you all decide.
But Kiran,
So
it seems,
it's a decision
it
he
seems
took,
to people
and
that the
words
police
he
very
used,
easily
Barka,
arrested Kanhaiya,
Barka,
but is not able to arrest these people because they can
Since you asked me
go
about
on
lawyers,
strike.
I'm asking you. The police commissioner's words are, I try to reduce the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Right? Understand?
Yeah.
I think he decided to take a choice between a lesser evil. There were two evils happening.
Yeah.
He chose a lesser evil. And the lesser evil is reduce collateral damage.
Ashwini, how do you see this? Because Rajiv Dhawan made a comment today saying that Mr. Bassi is in collusion with the hooligans for his inaction. Kiran says it is complicated. Kiran's making the argument that it was complicated to take on the lawyers.
Well, let me tell you, I think as you started, the debate is much larger rather than attributing motives to one person or the other.
Correct.
The issue that you need to debate today is, are we seeing the demise of the idea of India that we are all used to? Are we going to test the limits of tolerance? Are we going...
Where do you think it's being tested? Define
It
that.
is being
Congress
tested.
idea.
Define that.
It is
Define
being,
that and I'll get
it
them
is
to
being
respond.
tested by pitting it against our deep-rooted commitment to constitutionalism, to fundamental values.
So then Indira Gandhi,
it is about tests of tolerance. It is about tests of reasonableness, of restrictions on our fundamental freedoms.
Excuse me. This idea of India was created in the drawing rooms of Delhi. And it was, if anti-constitutionalism is your criteria, Indira Gandhi demolished it a long time ago, right? When she declared the emergency.
We debated emergency then. We are now debating GNU.
So why does it worry you now that we bring up your history?
It doesn't worry me.
But you cannot decide what that idea of India is. Everyone has a right to have their idea of India, and it can no longer be decided just by the Congress Party.
No, the idea of India is defined by our constitution. I'm so sorry. Barkha, this is more fundamental.
Again, he's confusing it. It's very convenient to say these are nationalists because they say Vande Mataram. And they get their pictures taken with the BJP. They're not nationalists. It's surprising that so many lawyers are goons. That's really very worrying, Soli. That is what we should be thinking about. How did these thugs become lawyers?
Just one moment. I have to put this on record and I have to state it with all the conviction at my command. The idea of India is not everybody's idea of India. The idea of India is defined by us by the constitution, which has given to us our core values, and those values cannot be obliterated.
Quickly, then I want to come into the crowd.
The basic point that we're discussing right now is idea of India. Now, I just request you close your eyes for a second and think what happened in JNU and what happened in Jadavpur thereafter. The kind
and Patiala House. Think of all three.
See, I'm discussing all these.
Please think of all three.
See, Barkha, the problem is. Many of you, in fact, are trying their best to divert the whole issue from anti-nationalism to hooliganism.
Why am I diverting?
And you won't be successful in that, Barkha. I tell you, you won't be successful.
And you are trying to use nationalism
it was my right to speak, Barkha. This is my time to speak.
For me is the essence of
Barkha,
my nationalism, which is my
please be tolerant to other views also. Please be tolerant to other views as well. You won't give me time, I know.
Okay, please.
This is creeping fascism.
This is
creeping fascism.
Barkha,
even in the studio, it's creeping fascism.
Look at all of you. You are trying to stifle the voice of the government. Yes, because you are. Barkha, we are not going to be stifled.
Creeping fascism.
Barkha, just because you have an agenda, that does not mean your agenda is going to be successful.
Barkha, you know, the thing is, I am a very cool person. I am far too old in this trade to get nervous by telling me I have an agenda. Just make your point.
Live for 100 long years. But Barkha, let me complete. Barkha, let me complete. I never interjected. You wanted me to speak coolly. I am coolly speaking about that. Yes, calmly. Only if you allow me to be calm. If you don't speak, yes. Idea of India is a moot question. Now tell me, close your eyes and think. JNU sloganeering, Pakistan Zindabad, Afzal Guru, kitne maroge, har ghar se Afzal niklega. A few days ago, Yaqub Memon kitne maroge, har ghar se Yaqub niklega. Hindustan ke 100 tukde ho jayenge. Is this the idea of India we are debating today? Is this constitutionality that we are debating today? Why confusion? Why confusion? Why misleading the nation? Why diverting it to something different? No, it's not okay, Barkha.
Okay means let me put your
remember,
point to them.
This is a disservice by a section in the media which is trying to convert something into something else.
You know, Goebbels, Barkha, Goebbels, we are reminded of him. You keep repeating 100 times, so you need to shoot.
Now first, Tavleen, you are exasperated by this phrase, idea of India.
Yeah, it really gets on my last nerve. Because it's an idea that the Congress Party has invented. And they feel that their idea of India is the idea of India. So Rahul Gandhi, when he goes to show solidarity with students who are saying, Bharat ki barbadi tak, Kashmir ki azadi tak, jang rahegi, is that their idea of India?
Okay, Yogendra.
It so happens that the idea of India was not invented in any drawing room. It was invented through a very long protected thing that we call freedom struggle of India.
That's right.
In that freedom struggle, thousands of people lost their life, but the one tradition, the one party and organization that did not shed one drop of blood was the RSS.
Oh, I thought Aam Aadmi Party shed a lot of blood.
Okay,
Please,
okay.
Let's
look ahead.
Aam Aadmi Party was the one
and
which was fighting.
The idea of India, to my mind,
let's look ahead.
For me, the Aam Aadmi, the basic concept, I just wanted to respond to him, but forget that.
Forget it, please.
For me, the idea of India has three components: democracy, diversity, and development for the last person.
Yeah.
Now, for these three critical ideas, Tavleen is absolutely right. Congress started damaging it. She's absolutely spot on. Indira Gandhi damaged the basic tenets of constitutionalism. If Congress people remember it today, like he remembers tolerance in the studio, these are nice things. But the fact is that both the parties have damaged it, and this idea of India is not an airy-fairy thing. It so happens that it's inscribed into the preamble of our constitution.
Let me get Soli in
that.
Soli, before we come to the young students here, I really want to hear their voice, the student leaders on both sides of the political divide. What is at stake? Why is JNU at the heart of national attention? What really I wonder about, is this the most, even if these slogans were raised, as they have been, and police will investigate who raised them, who was accountable for what, is this the most dangerous threat to India today, that it is the only story that's played out this entire week? What's at stake here?
I don't think JNU is such a dangerous
But there are principles, there is the contestation of ideas here.
But the question is, some people have the impression JNU is promoting anti-national activities, and I want to know what is anti-national. Whatever is critical, whatever is completely even said to be absolutely wrong is not anti-national. That's the whole thing. The sedition law should not be applied.
Solely, if you were Attorney General today, would you have applied the sedition law to these students as offensive as their slogans are?
Well, if it was proved that made the slogans, uttered the slogans, then there would be a case for applying the sedition law. But it has to be proved in a court of law. These hoodlums posing as lawyers can't attack the others and come to their own conclusion and beat them up. That's absurd.
Okay. Now, I just want to hear from these young people here. I've got Saket here. He's with the ABVP, and I've got Pankhuri here, who marched today in solidarity with Kanhaiya. To Tavleen, for example, who said, why didn't he stop them? You know, why did you all take to the streets? And you took to the streets today, by the way, with the tricolour, the national flag, and roses.
Yeah, so to Tavleen, I would like to say that the Students' Union in JNU is not there to act as a monitor and to shut people up. That is not what we do. We protect the right to speech of every student in that university. Kanhaiya was not at the event. He came later and he was trying to stop the scuffle. And he was doing that as much as he could have done. He was one person there and he was doing it. And why should he, there were offensive slogans from the other side also which nobody is talking about. There was also, people were also saying, "Khoon se tilak करेंगे गोलियों से आरती वो उसमें violence नहीं है so that side of the story nobody is showing. He was not thinking why should he shut up either side? I mean, if both sides are feeling so motivated, so emotional about the issue, then both
Were you disturbed by those slogans of Bharat ki tukre tukre?
I was not supporting them, but I was there when I heard that ABVP goons had attacked. I was there in solidarity to say very firmly, to say very.
Do you think this boy is a goon?
Well, if he attacks a cultural program, definitely.
Okay, very quickly, you were also beaten up in court?
I was inside with the teachers. I was pushed around really badly, and the lives of 5-6 of my teachers, I felt it was really threatened.
Saket, you're with the ABVP. Actually, 2 or, if I'm not wrong, 3 of your members have actually left today, and they say we just cannot relate to what's happening. This has to give you a message, and it has to give our panel a message. Young people, particularly, are anti-establishment by instinct, and they don't like being curtailed by the state. This is your own people who are leaving. How do you see what's happening?
No, we are a students' organization. Every year students join our organization, students leave. And now with some people, you should see that all these people who have left, 3 of them, they all belong to the School of Social Sciences. And they have been constantly pressurized by their teachers who are marching on streets, who are not taking classes to do all of this. So these are diversionary tactics. Now here we are talking about lawyers. And
they say we were not pressured. They say we were not pressured.
No, they will say, obviously, they will say because they're forced.
None of you are the kind who can be pressured. That's quite evident.
You cannot compare apples with oranges. You're doing this here. On 9th of February, you saw, everyone saw on media.
Do you agree? Can I ask you something? These slogans, offensive, awful, we all agree. Do you believe it needed police on campus, or do you believe JNU itself could have resolved this?
No, of course. You need police to control criminals. You need police to control terrorists. People are shouting against, shouting for Azadi, and people who are shouting for Azadi and against India, they have to be tackled by the police. And it is unfortunate. You should ask.
Saket,
you should also ask why these 10 people have not been arrested.
Saket, whose kangaroo court is this that you are declaring people criminals? That is something that has to be taken through a due process
That's
of law.
That's what. So who are you to declare that they're not guilty?
Even more importantly, how will you differentiate between your notion of the nation and impunity, street level thuggish impunity? Because if nation is a bond that has to be celebrated and held on to, you can't do it with a cudgel. If you are doing it with a cudgel, it's no longer love, it's rape.
No, but then if people have done this, why don't you ask, does the 10 people who organized this event on 9th of February in JNU campus, even they have not been arrested yet? What is Mr. Bassi doing about it? Why don't you ask on your show?
I think the organizers, and we fully stand by the organizers, the JNU student community has not abandoned the organizers.
Don't say JNU student community, say the left organization.
I'm talking about the 8,000 people who marched today in the city. I'm talking about those 8,000 people. Can I just talk on their behalf?
They are 1,500 people.
Yeah. So this organizing...
I was there. Please don't lie. I was there.
This
I have to leave.
Yogendra, please come in.
Finish on the organization thing.
I want to go back to the panel.
No, because it has been questioned, why was the event organized in the first place? I want to ask, even if there is one person dissatisfied in Kashmir, even if there is one person dissatisfied in the Northeast, why shouldn't his issue be discussed in a university?
No, why should you?
Okay, now, one minute.
Discussion and protesting.
Sakit, 1 minute. What we're going to do is, we're going to take comments from our panel, and then we're going to take a break, and we're just going to have a conversation among the young people here. So what I want you to do is just respond to the two very divergent views you've heard. Kiran, I'll start with you. You said the police had to choose between the lesser of the two evils, but you heard this young man here talking about the street level thuggery. And you know, Kiran, it is thuggery. These men who beat up people in Patiala House, they have actually been congratulating each other. And as I understand, and Soli can correct me if I'm wrong, as offensive as those slogans were, nobody was violent. In Patiala House, people were violent. So how do we say one is the bigger crime and the second is the lesser crime?
As far as the thuggery,
yes.
As far as the thuggery, as far as the let's see, Gundaism or whatever has happened by the lawyers, they need a threefold action on them, which in fact has never happened. And that's why you've reached the situation. It's never happened as far as bylaws, because these people have been agitating Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, here, Delhi, everywhere, but nothing's happened. They need a three-pronged action against them. And let's see if that happens. A, obviously, FIRs have been registered. They're bound to be arrested one day, sooner or later. There's no choice. Okay? But second, will the licenses be suspended by the Bar Council? That's the second question. Third, they've also committed contempt of court. Will the Honorable Senior Courts also issue notices of contempt? Three things.
Because since I have to leave, I'll be quick.
We're taking last comments from everybody.
But I'll be very candid. Leave aside the whole issue. Since I've been traveling the last few days, what appeared on the television channel on 9th of February evening, most of the channels boomed it up. They showed the kind of comments that were sloganeering that was being made in JNU campus, and thereafter only yesterday in Jadavpur. I tell you, idea of India, ask the majority of Indians today, those who have access to media, those who have seen the kind of sloganeering, and they'll tell you without any debate, without any discussion as to what they feel. They are asking us, why not take action against each and every of these people who contributed towards destruction of the idea of India? And I tell you, whether we win or lose within the confines of the studio is immaterial. But today, India is questioning the motives of what is happening by the fringe of JNU. And Barkha, let me just clear the air.
India is questioning.
Barkha, let me just clear one thing. It is not against JNU.
I want to read out.
It is not against JNU.
Although one of your MPs, Chandan, wrote a column saying shut down JNU.
Can I just please complete? It is not against JNU. I am speaking to the JNU students over here. We respect JNU because JNU has produced alumni par excellence.
I just want to read
out. It is against the fringe in JNU.
Sambit, Tavleen, I want to, hang on guys, you will all get your chance after we take a break. We're taking last comments from all of them. This is a statement from Kanhaiya's mother. Kanhaiya's mother has given a statement. Sambit, we have just 2 minutes and we'll get you out. My son was attacked, Tavleen, she says, with 400 policemen present. The government failed to protect him. The Prime Minister calls himself the son of the poor, but isn't this another poor mother's son who's being exploited? And then she ends by saying, Mera samaj mere saath hai, main deshdrohi ki maan nahi hu. Now, I think what we saw happening, we are a country that gave Ajmal Kasab a fair trial, and he was the perpetrator of 2611. Is this Kanhaiya, because he failed to stop these slogans, which is the most serious charge right now that you can level against him, so dangerous that he needs to be beaten up in court?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's ridiculous to even ask me that question.
There can't be any dispute
I
about
have,
that.
on day one, I said, you don't arrest students, one.
Okay.
I really believe that police has no place on university campuses.
Okay.
And they should be kept off no matter how much rubbish these guys talk. Okay. And there was a lot of rubbish. And this was, and please make a distinction between debate and a call to violence.
And we'll debate that with them after the break.
Okay. But the fact is that the slogans offended me. The slogans were dangerously jihadi. I felt in the slogans a Pakistani thing. And I actually am a conspiracy theorist and believe that Pakistan could well be using campuses now, like they used other. Yes.
Okay. Soli, I'll give Soli the last word. Ashwini, 30 seconds. I'll give all of you a chance to respond.
I can't say in 30 seconds because you've been
last
very discriminatory in time. But let me tell you this. You asked Soli, what does this entire incident mean for the country? I'll tell you what it means. There are three issues that are at stake. The morality of using an intrinsically draconian colonial piece of legislation against young students. That is what is an issue. What is an issue is using the bogey of myopic nationalism to trample every constitutional value that has defined and determined the idea of India. The idea of India arose out of countless sacrifices of millions of Indians, and that is why we have a free country. This is also about freedom. And of course, the rightful limits on that freedom. But whether this is a case where this kind of an action should have been taken, the coercive apparatuses, the prosecutorial processes of the state being unleashed in a disproportionate manner against the student community is a shame on India.
Yogendra ji, last comments for you, and I'll give the last word to Soli, and then we'll talk only to the students. Yeah.
For anyone who takes the idea of nation seriously, is deeply nationalist Indian, I would say, let's see what has India gained in these last 2 weeks. One of the finest institutions, one of the few things our academia can take pride in, has been stigmatized and demoted. Two, an incident about which at the most 50 people would have known is now known to millions and millions, and we have ended up doing a great deal of publicity. And three, we look exactly like those nervous nations of the kind that Pakistan displayed during the tricolor thing. And four, we look like Putin's Russia when things of the kind happened yesterday.
Soli, is that hyperbolic, or is that something you'd agree with, that we look like Putin's Russia? I've got to take a break, so very quick last word.
Well, a bit hyperbolic, but essentially I agree with him. Look, sedition law must not be used to muzzle dissent and jail the dissenter. That's the basic point. Now, whether he said that, not said that, has to be proved. If this is correct, Hindustan ka tukra karega and all that, then surely that's not free speech. That cannot be permitted. But that has been determined by a court of law, not by hoodlums posing as lawyers.
And you will be appearing tomorrow in the Supreme Court for Kanhaiya. We'll thank Kiran Bedi, Tavleen Soli, Surabji, Yogendra Yadav, and Ashwini.
Before you, can I ask a question from the students?
Okay.
You've all read the law, section 124A?
Yes.
How many of you read it? That's less than half. That's less than half. Can I quickly tell you, for the others, quickly what the law is, so that you decide whether these slogans came under this or not? Because it doesn't show that students. It doesn't show.
I've got to take a break.
It doesn't show students are exempted or there's an age group to this. It's a very 2 seconds. It says 24A. Whoever by words, either spoken or written, or by signs, or by visible representation, or otherwise, brings or attempts to bring into hatred, or contempt, or excites or attempts to excite disaffection towards the government established by law in India shall be punished with life.
But the Supreme Court interpreted, let me answer that. The Supreme Court interpreted to say solely that there has to be incitement to violence.
1 second, Barka, but this is the law. And it's
law is
interpretation of the law, incitement to violence.
When police registers a case, I want to say, when police registers a case, it goes by the law, judgments can follow.
Okay, I'm going to take a break with thanking the adults on this panel.
And one thing, but I saw something beautiful today for the nation, which is thousands of people, students, teachers, everyone, come out in a show of courage.
And we're going to talk to some
of them.
I
saw all the 3 colors of the tricolor today in that meeting.
Thanking everybody. We're coming back in a quick break to talk to some of the young people here. All right, you've heard the politicians and you've heard the pundits, but let's now hear a few comments. We've just got a few minutes left from the young people here. Go ahead.
Hi. I am a former student of JNU. I was a political activist there. I always fought the left when I was on campus. But today, if you see...
You fought the left. You were anti the left.
I was an HOI counselor in the Students' Union. So I've always fought the left.
Okay, what's your point?
The point is, see, an incident happened. Kanhaiya has been arrested. There's no proof against him, not even a shred of proof. Yeah. Though there are TV channels that are showing videos, morphed videos where he's claiming to, hum ladke lenge.
So you're saying there's not enough evidence against him?
Not just that. Today there are images viral on social media where his picture has been morphed, where the background is being shown of India with Kashmir as part of Pakistan and all. Who is doing all this? And
I'll put that to Sakit in a moment. Is there anybody who here, because I heard applauses for different points of view, anybody here who thinks he should have been arrested? Who should have been? One minute. Anyone who thinks the slogans were disturbing? How many of you thought that the slogans were disturbing? Yeah.
Yes, and my question to Pankudi, if she says that even if one person is dissatisfied, we need a discussion. Yes, we need a discussion, but were those slogans discussion? Second, I also want to know that there is so much anger about the lawyers. We are actually moving away from the debate. Why are we not angry? Why is the stomachs not churning when you hear those anti-India slogans here? Why? And this is happening in Jadavpur now. So I just want to say one thing. Yeah. Let's not wait. Let's not debate. And come, let's propagate and not allow India to stagnate.
Let Pankuri respond to that. Yeah. You said the job of Kanhaiya was not to censor those slogans. Yeah. He's asking why not. Quick response to that.
Because I don't think the Indian stomachs are so weak that they will start churning just by hearing 3 slogans. I think we can take 3 slogans and I think we can hear them out, and then when they stop sloganeering, we can ask them what is your problem and we can engage with them. Right now, the problem that is happening is that we are not letting people speak out. We are not letting people, we are totally silencing
respond
people.
To that. Is the Indian state, 1 minute, is the Indian state so insecure that it's going to get threatened by 3 slogans? That's what she's asking.
No, the point is that in a university, where university is a place of debate and discussion. Yeah. And in JNU, there are lots of debates and discussions going on. But here was a protest where these people shouted anti-India slogans, where these people kind of they are propagating violence against the state. So this is not tolerated.
Okay, what do you say about that?
I completely believe that the right to dissent is particular to every citizen of this nation, and protest and sloganeering is not a tool to incite violence.
What do you say?
I think the law itself is not, it's anti-India actually.
You have a problem with the citizen?
Yeah, because the colonial government used it for against the anti-nationals, the nationals at that time. Now the government is using it against the people who have the right.
So you have a problem with sedition. Now, what about this reference to Pakistan that came up? Anyone who wants to talk about that?
Yeah, so I will only restrict myself to the free speech debate, and I'll respond to that 3 statement remark.
Make your point.
So why is it hate speech when Akbaruddin Owaisi makes a polarized remark? Why is it hate speech when Praveen Togadia makes a polarized remark, but not hate speech when these students make these remarks?
Pankuri, you want to take that? Why is this also not hate speech? We get angry, he's saying, when we hear extremists of political parties. You want to take that? Why is this not hate speech? Yeah.
Well, a hate speech has to be qualified by the proof of there being an imminent danger of violence. That is, there has to be a preparation and a conspiracy for violence. That is, you need the presence and the infrastructure of, let's say, weapons, of people being gathered, of there being the logistics of creating actual violence.
Okay, somebody wants to question you on that. Yeah.
Ma'am, it's an intellectual dishonesty when you're talking about the 3 slogans being threat to India. Even India has a third largest army. So do you think that even some terrorist organizations start operating in the country, we should allow them free hand?
But are these students terrorists? Is Kanhaiya a terrorist?
I mean, just by raising slogans, are you terming us terrorists? Because we have the right to question.
No, and coming from the Northeast, I think we know the situation there, right? I mean, a lot of the community, they are anti-India, but they don't belong to particular militant groups. So will you arrest all of them for being anti-India for particular reasons because a particular law is depriving them of their fundamental rights?
Just a couple of more questions. Remember, we're taking all shades of views. You're all free to say what you want to. What do you want to say?
I feel that I'd like to ask the ABVP activist. It's been overly politicized for a simple reason that I see. I see that there's a stalemate in Kashmir right now. I see that the ruling government does not want to end that stalemate, and they're using this to show their suppression and their power.
Saket, questions raised that PDP actually has a position on Afzal Guru and the BJP is in double speak.
No, but we need to see who's politicizing it.
No, but talk about the PDP point.
It is Rahul Gandhi that goes to the campus.
Saket, talk about the PDP point. Saket, talk about the PDP point, which many see as double standard.
And
Shiromani Akali Dal, where Manish Tiwari had an interesting example that Prakash Singh Badal was once someone who burnt the constitution. Simranjeet Singh Maan was a well-known secessionist. Sajad Lone used to be a secessionist. He's in government today with the BJP. So this, there are many complexities there. You want to come in there?
But see, PDP is not saying Bharat ke tukde tukde kar denge. We have to understand. Nobody is having problem with Afzal Guru. ठीक है, आप disagree करते हैं. But PDP is not saying Bharat ke tukde.
Do you think the demand for a separate state should be accompanied by anti-India slogans? That's okay with you?
Okay, Pankuri, take that. The separatist thing and the pro-Pakistan thing has really disturbed people.
The thing is that I'm not one of the separatists, so I'm not going to say how their discourse is formulated, and I'm not going to censor it also. They themselves are going to formulate their discourse. They themselves are going to come into conversation with us. We cannot give the terms about how they should talk to us.
Okay, your comment.
And if there are actual...
कन्हैया को सिर्फ इसलिए अरेस्ट किया गया कि एंटी नेशनल स्लोगन वो नहीं रुकवा पाया. अगर ऐसी बात है तो फिर 2002 में जब दंगे हो रहे थे तो उस बिना पे गुजरात के सीएम मोदी जी को अरेस्ट करना चाहिए. जब मुजफ्फरनगर में दंगे हो रहे तो सीएम वहां का अखिलेश यादव नहीं रुकवा पाए तो उनको भी अरेस्ट करना चाहिए.
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि ना रुकवाना cannot be the main जुर्म. Anyone wants to take that on? Anyone disagrees with him? Anyone disagrees with him? आप यहाँ पे आइए. Okay.
मैम, अगर इनको ये गलत नहीं लगता तो इनको ये भी गलत नहीं लगता होगा कि जो हर फ्राइडे को कश्मीर में नारे लगते हैं, वो जो मास्क पहन के लगाते हैं, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? अफजल हम शर्मिंदा है, तुम्हारे कातिल जिंदा है. मतलब सुप्रीम कोर्ट है कातिल या प्रेसिडेंट कातिल?
Pankuri, last word to you. I've got to end. How do you see that particular slogan? Because you said you were there.
I am not in support of that slogan, but I will not take away the right of anybody who wants to make that. The Supreme Court, the people
you
sitting
don't think that person should
the
be
people
stopped?
sitting in the Supreme Court
His
are not
question
God that you cannot question their judgment. We have always questioned judgment from the time before this time this country got
I will have to leave it there. You know what? We'll have all of you back. Listen. This is not going anywhere. We will have all of you back. But what this proves is that you can have a healthy, civilized debate. India is all about, there was a debate about what's the idea of India. The idea of India is about argument, it's about dissent, it's about diversity. And the beautiful thing about India is the diversity of its opinion. Thank you very much to all of you for being part of this special program.